At the end of the day, man, the games have to be played. You got to line it up and see how you come out on the other side of it. Miami played against Ohio State, dominated them on both sides in the trenches, which I told y'all what was going to happen. Miami won 24-14, dominated Ohio State, and now they're moving on. At the end of the day, stop popping all that hot shit, talking crazy. The game still got to be played. You got to line it up and see how you come out on the other side of it.
By any means necessary. To our last breath, to the last play, we hunt. When we bleed, it's orange and green. War ready is the phrase often used. Around these parts, it's game time. No need to turn back the hands of time. We back like we never left. One thing that'll never change is the brand, the you.
Yo. I'm back, man. Welcome back to the Games Get Played Network. I'm your host, Wise, and we're here to discuss the Miami versus Ohio State review. Listen, man, I'm going to go ahead and get this out the way right now. Fuck Ohio State. And fuck all of y'all bitch ass fans that was doing all of that extra chirping and yapping. Oh my God, Miami sucks. You guys lost to Louisville and SMU. There's no way you can play with Ohio State. Fuck all y'all. Fuck every single last one of y'all that was talking all that dumbass bullshit. This is college football, my boy. SMU and Louisville are not the teams that people try to make them out to be. At the end of the day, the ACC over the last few years has been producing some of the best quarterback play in the country overall. And, you know, the things that those teams have, man, it's not to necessarily be taken lightly. Miami shouldn't have lost either one of those games. But to sit up here and act like, it came against teams that was just trash or garbage is crazy. But at the end of the day, like I told y'all, stupid ass fans, it don't matter who we lost to. We was in the playoffs just like y'all. We was matched up with y'all. Who we lost to didn't fucking matter. And y'all kept talking all that shit. And a lot of y'all bitch ass fans. Yeah, I was on Twitter. A lot of y'all deleted a lot of tweets. Y'all started blocking Canes folks after y'all talked reckless for 9 or 10 days. At the end of the day, man, y'all pussy for not standing on all of that bullshit y'all was talking. I'm gonna stand on mine, and I see none of y'all whole ass except one stand-up fan came back in my comments to mention Ohio State. Listen, man, at the end of the day, you might not like it, but I know ball. And I don't just try to gas the Canes up because I'm a fan and all of that. I call what I expect to see. That doesn't mean it's going to go that way. But anybody thinking Ohio State was blowing Miami out, you just don't know ball. You don't know ball. You don't watch ball. And that's cool. But we know ball around here at the Games Get Played Network. So you might want to tune in and you might learn a little bit about your team on this review. So let's take this ride with me. So first of all, we just going to start up top overall. Miami won the game 24-14. Right? You had stupid ass people, I think like Urban Meyer saying that if Ohio State scored 14, they would win because Miami couldn't score. This narrative that Miami couldn't score was a bunch of bullshit anyway. But against the number one defense in the nation, Miami put up 17 points. All right. Obviously, one of the scores came from a pick six, but we'll get into that later. Um, Score was 0-0 after the first. Miami obviously put up 14 on Ohio State in the second quarter. Um, Ohio State scores in the third. Miami get a field goal, and then Ohio State scores again, and Miami seals it. Obviously at the end, man. Carson Beck, 19 of 26, 138, and one touchdown. One thing that I want to point out, nothing super flashy about the stats, man. Um, but Beck did what he had to do. If I'm not mistaken, I think he started the game off 0 of 3. He missed a couple of check downs, and then one of the other passes I remember he missed, he threw the ball a little behind Keelan Marion, but Marion should have caught it. I said all of that to say, Beck didn't have a lot of yards or nothing like that, but he did what we needed him to do to win the football game. And then, we got into the fourth quarter on that third down. Beck, I want to salute him because he took off in this game more than he's taken off all season, if I can remember, just on straight up scrambles. And on that third down, when it was like 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 11, my guy put his head down, went in there, banged some shit, banged two of their players, and got that first down. That was critical for us to, keep those chains moving in that situation. Mark Fletcher, another great game. 19 carries for 90 yards. He did have a fumble on one of the drives where we was down there, got down there in the red zone, and he fumbled the ball. But, he didn't let it bother him, and he bounced back. Marty Brown, 5 carries, 26 yards, and he obviously had the touchdown at the end. He had that key third down grab. Hadn't really played the whole game like that. Came in on a key third down, picked up the 5-yard completion for us to keep it going. Pringle had a couple of runs and everything. CJ, I thought, had a big game. I know it was only 49 yards, and one, they should have threw a PI on one of the deep balls, but he had timely catches, man, the third and fourth screen, a couple of other situations. Keelan Marion made a couple of good catches for us. Fletcher, obviously, with the touchdown and then the other grab. Malley didn't do much on offense overall. He had one key catch. He fumbled the ball 2 times that we got back. And just overall, man, we did what we needed to do. The defense, Jacoby Thomas was flying all over the field. He came with it, man. He said he was gonna make Ohio State feel it, without even directly, talking about them, because they was doing a lot of talking and a lot of yapping. We don't give a fuck about none of that, bro. At the end of the day, you can do all the talking you want. The games still have to be played. So shout out to Jacoby Thomas for having a great game, flying all over the field. Picked them off at the end. Torrey, beautiful game with the aggression and everything. Wesley had a beautiful sack. I do feel like in the second half, they started moving West out the way a little bit, with the tight end play in the run game, and that's how they was able to have some success. But all in all, I think everybody buckled it up and we got it cleaned up. Heatherman made some adjustments and we got the stops. Mesidor, a menace. He was terrorizing them all night. They didn't want to call holding for us. Poiser was flying around. Shout out to the best defensive back in the country. Shout out to who should have won the Thorpe Award. Shout out to Agent Zero. And man, that pick six was something of beauty, man. Something of fucking beauty. Man, overall, man, I thought OJ, I'm gonna give him his flowers, man. I thought OJ played a great game. Obviously, he was matched up with Jeremiah at times and other people, but overall, I thought he was holding his own. JJ got some tough catches on him, but he's gonna get those anyway, So I hope OJ is gonna, be able to play. It didn't look too good when he had went down on the sideline, but hopefully he's okay. He's okay, and that was overall from a competitive standpoint. That was his best game of the season, in my opinion. Um, Popo, O'Connor, Bain was terrorizing them. They didn't want to, call certain stuff, and then they was complaining about the holding at the end of the game that they claimed was on the guy blocking Bain, but it was actually on the dude blocking Blade. So y'all can kill all of that bullshit. It was a clear hold on the play. They just called the wrong number on it. Um, Shout out Marquise Lightfoot, man. He was also out there terrorizing them boys. He came up with a sack. And overall, man, we just played well. A lot of plays were made, especially on the inside. We did a lot. There was a lot of hitting. There was a lot of thumping out there. I can't even lie. Ohio State was popping shit on defense. Um, I was impressed with how hard they played and how hard they was hitting. We move over to the other side, man. Julian Sand, 22 of 35, 287, one interception. I mean, one touchdown, two interceptions. Overall, we contained Bo Jackson. He did have 55 yards. He had an 18-yard run. He ripped off, and he obviously had a touchdown, but we definitely kept him in check. CJ Donaldson, he did all right. And then obviously we sacked Julian Sand 5 times. So they ended up only having 45 rushing yards as a team. Um, Jeremiah Smith went the fuck off. He really was killing us the whole game, to be honest. Got that deep shot early, and they had momentum after that shot. That's why Keontae picked six in that thing was so important. Like, that pick six changed the whole game. Um, but shout out Jeremiah. He did what he needed to do. That was never really in question to me because Damari wasn't playing, so I knew he was gonna ball on us, and he did that. He proved why he's always one of the best players on the field, and the boy balled out. Got nothing bad to say about him. 7 receptions for 157 yards and a touchdown. Cardinal Tate, you got clamped the fuck up. Um, and the level of physicality that we played with, it was clear that Tate ain't want no smoke. Jeremiah was locked in. Boy was ready to go. Tate ain't want no smoke with that shit at all. Ennis had a solid game. Might have been one of his better games of the year. I mean, he didn't get a touchdown, but 34 yards on 4 catches. That looks pretty good for him. Um, and then overall, I thought they defense hit well. I actually thought they tackled in space well as well. The DBs is exactly what I said. All they do is fucking hold. Shit was crazy. The amount of holding they was doing, and they wasn't even calling it, but it ended up not mattering. Um, Caden Curry, I didn't see that motherfucker do nothing. Um, Houston was getting after it. Um, Caden McDonald, he's a dog. Respect to him. Caleb Downs was out there hitting. He was moving around fast. Um, he didn't do nothing crazy, but I did love his intensity level he played with, how fast he, was flying around out there. Kenyatta Jackson, he didn't do shit. Arvell Reese really didn't do shit. Um, and yeah, I would say overall, I think we did what we needed to do. Sonny Styles was a non-factor pretty much the whole game. He made a couple of tackles, literally a couple, and that was pretty much it, man. I think that we did, what we needed to do. Um, and the game was a little, it's a little touch and go. Miami obviously got up. Then Ohio State made a run in the second half, but when you just look at these teams, I said they were matched up pretty evenly across the board. Miami had the advantage in the trenches, like I said before the game. That held true on both sides. But even when you look at the breakdown of the game, both teams had 18 first downs. Big difference is Miami was 7 of 14 on third down. Ohio State was 3 of 10. You're talking about 291 yards compared to 332 in yards, right? They had way more passing yards at 287. We only had 138. The difference came in where we were able to run the ball. We had 153 yards, 37 rushes on 4 yards a pop. We turned it over once on the Fletcher fumble. They turned it over twice, and we won time of possession. For me, this game was real simple, man, and it started to get a little complicated towards the end, but Miami did what they needed to do, point blank. And for me, just watching this game and just seeing how everything was going, man, I was pleased with what I was seeing. They really tried to cheat us anyway. We up 14-0. Beck scrambles for that first down. They call it a first, and then they review it and bring it back to the 31 and a half instead of the 32. There was not one clear angle for that, but I already realized what was going on with that. They didn't down 14-0. Miami had got to stop, got the ball back. And Vegas made that call. They called in, they say, hey man, too much money on the line. We can't let it end up being no blowout, man. That's what happened. Had to. Because even if other officials are, oh yeah, there's no way they can overturn it. You can't even see it. And then they come back and they overturn it. But whatever. Um, we just handled business, man. We were the more physical team overall, even though I did think Ohio State was extremely physical. The level of physicality they played with was top tier. Their defense surprised me a little with how hard they were hitting. That was the hardest hitting game on both sides that I've seen all season by far. It's not even close. Like they was hitting. So it's going to be interesting to see, what that looks like when we play Ole Miss. Ole Miss did beat Georgia, so we got Ole Miss next week, and I definitely think we need to focus on imposing our will on them. But we'll get to that later. For me, some of the highlights of the game, I think Dawson made the perfect play call on that third down that got Fletcher the touchdown. Everything looks like run, and man, that was a phenomenal play call. Got us in the end zone, perfectly drawn up, perfect delivery by Beck. Keontae Scott, obviously with the pick six, probably one of the rawest things I've seen somebody do all season is this motherfucker stared down they sideline while he was still running towards the end zone for the touchdown on the pick six. And they asked him about it. He was like, nah, I had a moment. He's like, well, I stared down their sideline while I was running it back. That shit was hard. But, Thorpe Award people, you got it wrong, man. Keontae Scott should have gotten it. And I love that he's a Cane. And that man been making plays all year. And that pick six was crazy. Like, if you remember when we played Notre Dame in 2017, that pick six was like bandy. It's pick six on steroids for me. Like, I'm out at dinner. I had a New Year's Eve dinner, and me and my wife, we were at a 2-star Michelin restaurant. We eating dinner, man, and I got one earbud in. And when he caught that pick, man, yo, I started screaming and then I stopped because I realized where we was at. But it's so crazy because we was eating dinner with a bunch of folks that was also Canes fans. But yeah, man, I started yelling or I started screaming when he caught the pick, and then I had to dial it back. We in there, and I started to go crazy, and I had to dial it back. I say, hey man, I'ma just, but What a fucking play, man. And, shout out to everybody doing a 111. You know, typically you wouldn't take that chance, but Keontae had studied it. He saw it. And honestly, Jeremiah got lazy on the block. And because he got lazy on the block, man, he jumped it and cribbed it. And man, that was a crazy play. I will say Ryan Day clearly made adjustments at halftime, but I also think that Miami started playing a little conservative after the half, especially on defense. We kind of switched up what we was doing. We wanted to keep everything in front of us, and for me, I didn't really think that was the right call. And then Julian Sand got into a great rhythm, and after he got into the rhythm, man, he really started ripping shit on us. Honestly, like that boy went on a tear. If I'm being honest, he was just getting everything. But the one thing I love about this team, man, and I'm just giving y'all my thoughts at this point. Um, but they don't quit. This team ain't quit all year. Miami hasn't played a game that they haven't had the opportunity to win in over 2 years. Right? Like let me see how far I gotta go back. Like, so I can tell you a game where Miami played it and we wasn't in that game. Like, I really would have to go back, bro. So let's go back to 2023 real quick. No, even 2023. So the last time Miami lost a game by more than one score was November 4th, 2023, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, we've been in these games. Some of them have been tighter than what we've wanted them to be, man. But we just, we've stayed the course. I'm proud of this team. But we got business to take care of. Yeah, we beat Ohio State, but I wasn't in this just to beat Ohio State. We got two more wins that we need to handle, and that's just kind of where I'm at with it. I'll say overall, we missed probably about 6 or 7 more sacks on Sam. We had him in hell. I told y'all, Ohio State fans, that y'all had never seen anything like what your guys were going to play. It clearly showed on the field. It was no debating about that. And Miami was superior in the trenches on both sides of the ball. My defense, man, shout out to y'all. Y'all only gave up 14 points. Um, and y'all played a hell of a game. We shut down the run game. Ohio State got some of theirs in the past game, really mainly with Jeremiah. We shut down Carnell Tate. I just think overall we did a phenomenal job, and man, what a difference a year makes with Heatherman. It's crazy to me that this team is just like, we got a complete football team, y'all. Like, I want y'all to realize something, and I'm not trying to, be funny or nothing. Y'all realize that, if I'm being honest, Malachi Tony hasn't really balled since Pitt, and we won 2 playoff games without him being the focal point for the offense. It's not that he isn't doing, like, he had a punt return against A&M. He's been making some great blocks. He obviously scored the game-winning touchdown, but he hasn't really went off, and we've won both games. Shout out to Mark, put him on a stretcher, Fletcher. That boy has been balling. He's on a tear right now. Y'all know, man, I used to be on Fletcher head because I expected more out of him and we needed more. And when I tell you he been putting Miami on his back, man, salute to him for real. Salute to Marty Brown for coming in the game, really, while not playing too much over the last month and a half, and gave us some great freaking reps, man. Salute to you. Salute to Carson. Carson didn't do anything stupid. He took care of the ball. He put his body on the line. He made a lot of good throws, and we won. That's the one thing that I love about Beck. He don't care if he don't have yards, bro. That man just want to win. So shout out him. Shout out Pancake. He started the game and he played a hell of a game. I want to shout out Brockenmeyer. I haven't seen any PFF stuff, and I know McDonald made plays, but brother, you was that McDonald. He's a monster, and we did what we needed to do in that run game. Shout out the whole O line, man. CJ came up big. Marion had timely catches. Um, just overall a great job, man. And even with that, I thought Dawson called a great game outside of a couple of things here and there. Overall, man, I thought he did what he needed to do. The moment didn't seem too big for him. And, we was able to execute when it mattered most. We in these fourth quarter games and we handing out body blows. We handing out body blows to these teams, man. And these are pretty much heavyweight dog fights. And at the end of the day, I got Miami in any heavyweight dog fight. Um, the defense played lights out, in my opinion. Held them boys to 14 points. And, I'm just excited, man. So Heatherman and Dawson, they definitely outcoached their counterparts for this game. Miami handled business. But, there's more work to do, man. We got Ole Miss up next. We need to make sure that we bring the physicality to them. Let's just take it one game at a time. But we we just got to handle business. That's all, man. This is always going to be, about Miami. What Miami's doing, what Miami's not doing. We not going to worry about other teams. So handle business in Arizona. And, we make it home, we'll win at home. My brother been saying that for, I think, since the playoffs started. Make it home, win home. So let's go out here and get this next game. Let's make it do what it do. We got to be focused. Lots going on. And shout out Mario Cristobal, man. I know a lot of Canes fans did a lot of hating on Mario over this time, even up until right before the playoffs. All of this shit talking, oh, Duke won the ACC and Manny got it before Mario. Shout out to you, man, because you came here, you got rid of all of that garbage we had in this program, and you've turned this program around and sent it on the right trajectory. So, no matter what happens from here, it's nothing they can do to stop the trajectory we on. And that's just the truth. So, shout out you for even taking on this challenge, because before you got here, I used to think some of these players we had was good, and this roster clearly was absolute dog shit for the most part. So salute to you, man. The city feeling good. We got more business to handle. We gonna act like we've been here before. We haven't been in this exact situation, but we've been deep in the trenches. We know what it means to be great, and we'll focus on being great. If you like the content you've been seeing on the channel, please subscribe, turn your notifications on, hit that like button, and get in the comments, man. At the end of the day, man, the games have to be played. You got to line it up and see how you come out on the other side of it. Miami played against Ohio State, dominated them on both sides in the trenches, which I told y'all what was going to happen. Miami won 24-14, dominated Ohio State, and now they're moving on. At the end of the day, stop popping all that hot shit, talking crazy. The game still got to be played. You got to line it up and see how you come out on the other side of it. Till next time, signing off, man. Go Canes. Let's get it. Let's go win this natty, man.